If I told you I could give you just 5 exercises to do that would undo a lot of the common issues a lot of us have, aches and pains in our back, our shoulders, our knees, our ankles, what would they be? Well, as a physical therapist, guys, today I put together those 5 exercises, including one bonus that you can do literally anywhere starting today. Let me take you through them one by one and show you exactly what to do. So the first thing we have to do is fix all those knots, right? Those areas of spasm that you get through your upper back, or the weakness that comes as a result of that oftentimes drags our posture down to something that looks like this. And the best exercise for doing this, you guys know who followed me for any length of time, is a face pull. And the good news is you don't need to have any elaborate setup with cables and bands to do it. All you need is a door frame like this. So what I want you to do is position yourself with your feet on the inside of the door here, and then your hands up against the door frame. But the target is going to be right here on the forearm, right below the elbow. If I put that part into the door frame and then again increase the surface area that we're covering against the door frame for stability by having my hands open, with my feet through the door, I can actually comfortably lean back. And this is just setting up the beginning position of the face pull. And what we're targeting here are all those mid-back muscles as I squeeze my forearms back into the door frame to activate and engage all the muscles of the upper back and the posterior delt and in the rhomboids, right? To get those muscles engaged. And I don't want to just rush through this. I want to go nice and slow, squeeze. And when I get into that contracted position, I want to hold it for about 3 or 4 seconds. Because these muscles do need some muscle endurance on top of the fact that they need strength. So don't rush your way through this. And if I want to make this more difficult, I could step myself through the door even more. So I'm leaning back even more to start, and I got more range of motion to go through. But the idea is, if you want to strengthen that upper back and get rid of those spasms that are there as a result of weakness, you're likely going to be able to fix it really, really quickly with a couple sets of this each day. Exercise number 2 actually has 2 variations. I didn't even have to leave the doorway to do this. As a matter of fact, all I had to do was invest in what I think is the most versatile, best bang for your buck piece of equipment you could possibly get, and that's a doorway pull-up bar off of Amazon or Walmart for 15 bucks. Now, what you're gonna do here is fix a whole host of problems by simply just hanging on the bar. See, this dead arm hang gives us a lot of benefits. Number 1, by lifting my feet up and performing version number 1 here, I'm activating my core. Okay, so it becomes a good core strengthening exercise. But more notably, it actually gives me good mobility. By having my arms up overhead in this packed shoulder position, I get good shoulder flexibility and mobility. I have the ability to get more of that thoracic extension that kind of fed into those muscle aches that we were just working on in the first exercise. And more than that, I'm able to increase my grip strength, which we know is a good prognosticator for overall quality of life as you get older, right? Good grip strength is a thing that we want to maintain. And if you're not working on it, you're probably going to lose it. So your goal here is to try to hang for at least a minute and then progressively work your way up to as long as you possibly can. Believe me, the longer you can ultimately hang from a bar without having to put your feet down, the better your overall health will be. Now, the second thing you could do is shift the focus by allowing our feet to actually be in contact with the ground. So rather than making this a real holding exercise, instead what you do is you put your toes on the floor, you grab onto the bar, and then all you're gonna do is just simply drop. Okay, but my toes are still in contact with the floor. The goal here is to try to create decompression of the spine, okay, to give you a little bit more room between your lumbar vertebrae, to help you with some of that compression or pinching you might feel in your low back, or even some of the spasming that you might get in your low back. Any type of disc issues are gonna be feeling a hell of a lot better just by doing 30 seconds of this decompressed holding on the bar. And again, you're still getting this good mobility through your spine. So if I were to focus on not just hanging, but actively pushing myself through at the same time, then I can get more of that thoracic extension mobility. So this is 2 exercises done on the same bar, but both with an individual focus that makes you feel really, really good and fixes a lot of things that are going wrong right now. All right, so sticking with the theme of our low back, exercise number 3 is actually gonna really help anyone that has low back pain by targeting a muscle that you really never even think about. And we're talking about the glute medius. As a matter of fact, I have a video with over 40 million views that tells you how significant the glute medius is towards contributing to your low back pain. But if we could strengthen it, then we could actually go a long way towards keeping that back pain away for good. So how do we strengthen it? With a simple exercise called the hip drop. And all you wanna do is position yourself where you can lean into a wall and then stand on the leg opposite the wall. Okay, so in this case, here's my left side, my right leg I'm standing on. I'm gonna let myself get lazy. In other words, drop the hip out. Get as lazy as you can in this position. To go back towards the wall though, there's one muscle that I'm gonna really need to use, and that is the glute medius. So what I wanna do is think about sliding the hip across at the same time that I'm lifting up this other leg. So I'm gonna slide and lift. Drop it, lazy, slide and lift across. And if you do this right, you will feel a contraction right here in that glute medius that is responsible for relaying a lot of its dysfunction into the low back, so that when this is weak, the low back tries to do too much and you wind up feeling it because you get a lot of low back pain and spasm. You do 3, 4, 5 repetitions here in the right way here with a good solid contraction, you're gonna feel how weak this is, progressively start to strengthen it to the point where you can do 2 to 3 sets of 10 repetitions, feeling that good squeeze, but without feeling any of the cramping that you might be getting in the muscle. Again, progressively try to increase the strength. And of course, you're not just doing that side, you step onto the other leg again, this time dropping that hip out. And again, you can see what it looks like from the back. I'm shifting the hip across. Okay, just simply moving in this plane straight across my body, at the same time lifting up this leg to get that good solid contraction in here. Strengthen that muscle up, promise you a lot of your low back pain will go away. The next one you can do right down here on the floor, and we're sticking with the theme of helping the low back by strengthening the muscles that actually their job is to support it. And we're talking about the glute max this time. So again, another glute muscle, and even more than that. And this is an exercise I talked about before having such great benefits. It's called the bridge and reach over, okay? So what we're doing is we're gonna teach the glutes to be the main driver of hip extension by squeezing our cheeks together. At the same time, I don't wanna overextend to where I start causing that arch in the low back. If I think instead about squeezing but tucking the pelvis at the same time, then I've got a really good solid bridge. But from here, we can get more of that thoracic spine mobility and rotation by reaching back over our head. Okay, come back down again, reset, bridge, scoop, and then lift and touch over our head. And the more I can get across my body, the more that rotation I'm getting through the thoracic spine. That's gonna help to, again, increase that mobility overall of our spine. That will help to decrease some of that upper back stiffness that you were feeling before. Push through the heels, drive up, reach up and across the body. Really focus on squeezing through the glutes to make sure that they're the primary mover of the exercise, because trust me, more and more work being done by the low back that can't really handle it is just gonna lead to low back problems. All right, so now while you're fixing these areas of dysfunction, you also don't wanna turn a blind eye towards maintaining strength and upper body strength. And if there's an exercise that you can do that would fix a lot of the dysfunction but also help you to continue to build your strength, then that's the one you wanna do. And for me, it's a push-up variation, and it's called the dive bomber push-up. Now, there's 2 versions. This is the more advanced version, but I'll show you how to do this if you're not as strong. The idea is you're gonna start from this downward dog position, right? And this is gonna help to improve the flexibility of our lower body, because by keeping our knees straight, we're gonna feel a good stretch through the hamstrings here, down through the calves, okay? And at this point, I'm also gonna feel some additional mobility and flexibility work through the shoulders because I'm in this flex position. And by driving my head down, I'm actually just allowing my arms to flex even more up over my head. So I get more of that thoracic extension we were talking about and all those benefits throughout the spine. But now for the exercise itself, I can slowly lower myself down to the ground, scrape my chest down, and then come up on the other side. I'm actually shifting the focus of the one push-up to 3 different areas. Right here, I'm really working on the triceps and a little bit of the shoulders too, but mostly the triceps. I lower myself back down. This is gonna be mostly chest through here. And as I push myself back and away, I'm working more of the strength of the shoulders. What I want you to visualize is having like an imaginary fence right here. And I wanna slide under the fence and push up on the other side of it. So again, if I'm up here, I'm gonna slide down, get under that fence, come up on the other side, work the triceps, come back down, get the head clear under the fence, slide back through, and push. Now, if I couldn't do that, the only thing I'd have to forego is that hamstring stretching component, but I would just simply do this from an on knees position where I dive down and through and press up. And again, even here, I'm getting good mobility through my middle back and also my low back. So anyone that's dealing with any disc issues in their low back, we know that getting into an extended spine is a healthier position. So I can work on them in this sort of push-up or press-up variation. The idea here is to do these exercises until your point of failure, ensuring that you're pushing yourself hard enough to actually build strength and muscle, that number is really irrelevant as long as you're pushing yourself and you continue to actually try to increase that number from session to session, then you know you're doing the right thing. All right, so I mentioned bonus exercise number 6, and this is where we help you out there that have knee issues. The knee is a consequential joint. It's at the mercy of what happens at our ankle or at the hip above. Because if we get weakness in those areas, then the knee's gonna kind of feel the brunt of it and eventually, ultimately maybe lead to arthritis and breakdown. So what can we do as far as a catch-all exercise, just like that upper body one, that's gonna work the lower body and help to strengthen the hip and the ankle to provide that knee with more support. It's this simple combination exercise that you could do right here on a staircase. And again, depending upon your strength level, you either go up 1 stair or 2 stairs. Okay, starting at 1, we put 1 foot up on here, and what we're gonna do is sink down just a little bit to preload this quad. I'm gonna drive up and let this other leg come all the way through, because what I wanna get is full hip extension on this down leg, right? Feel that glute on this leg to get through full hip extension. Then we step down and immediately go right back off the step into this reverse lunge. Okay, knee just right off of the floor. And I come right back up again, drive up, so I'm working again through that quad on this side, come down, and I lean a little bit forward here to load up the posterior chain on this side. So we're working both sides of the equation here, but we're doing it in this unilateral way that demands that I have stability in the frontal plane. So that hip drop exercise is helping you to do this. This is putting it all into practice. And I can hold weights if I want to get stronger at the exercise, or I can simply start at a higher step, drive up now from here, step down, reverse lunge. Drive up all the way through, step down, reverse lunge. Again, tying it together functionally to train these muscles the way they prefer to. If you're looking for more ways to stretch the lower body, guys, I put this video together for you here to make sure that you know how to do that properly. And also 5 other exercises that you're gonna wanna do now so you're not regretting it 10 years from now. You're gonna wanna watch this video right here. All right, guys, subscribe. Make sure you check out our full programs and meal plans and supplements over at ATHLEAN-X.com. All right, guys, see you soon.